right. Let's see. I'm gonna Hello, beautiful people. Hello, 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 hello. I am so excited that you are here. Today is day 5 of 10 paintings in 10 days. I am Sierra Casher, the artist behind this series. I am so excited that you are here. Yes, my excitement is here because I am doing what I love. However, on today, we are going to be talking about a little bit of my story. I'm going to share some old paintings that I have from years and years ago, y'all. Like years and years ago. And it just speaks to the moment that I'm having right now with sharing my creativity with you, with sharing my journey with you. I'm gonna hit the lights in a moment so that you can see a little bit better than because some of these paintings are really you're gonna see when I get ready to show it to you. But I am so grateful that you are here. I'm so thankful that you are joining me today because you could be anywhere else on this Friday night, but you are here with me. So thank you so very much. Um, so a little bit of today's agenda, as I said, I'm gonna hit the lights. I'm gonna invite my friends over on Instagram to join us here, and I'm also going to, like I said, share my paintings with you. I like to kind of say the same thing twice so that y'all can think about it. If you gotta get some water, gotta get some tea, gotta make your coffee, whatever you gotta do to get yourself settled in, because today is gonna be a little bit different than the other days. You're gonna get a little bit more painting out of me, more talking as I paint, and it's going to be quite the adventure. So, if you want to go grab you some, beverages, some snacks, you're more than welcome to at this time because it's not going to be like I said yesterday. I'm not going to do a lot of talking at the beginning. I'm going to invite, and then I'm going to be quiet, and then I'm going to come back to you and give you a little bit of, I guess, information and all the things about what is happening for today. So, I'm gonna hit the lights. So if you are hearing me, I would love if can you please put something in the chat so that I can see what's happening. I'm not able to see. Um, what's happening, and so there is not a. Let's see. Okay. So I'm attempting to see what is happening with the chat box this time. It's not letting me see. Okay, let's see if this makes it do it. Oh, there it is. Hey. So I don't know what I did this time, the difference, but there's the chat now. So you're more than welcome to put something in there if you would like. I was just trying to make sure that I could see everything. Here we are. Here we go. I don't know. Y'all cannot see it as close. I'll bring it closer to y'all in a moment.
I'm going to bring this painting closer so that you can see. So, if you look really close, I'm going to bring it even closer to the camera so that you can see the darkness in the lines. If you saw this when I first started it, it was very much lines and things every single where on this paper. And what I learned is that as I do activities, let's get over here. What I learned is that as I do activities like this one here, I am really, really wanting to share it more. And I'm taking a deep breath because for a very long time, this is what my life felt like. And you can't really see the darkness in the lines yet, but I'll give it a go in just a moment as it dries. But each of these colors represent something different. They represent resilience, they represent creativity, they represent laughter, and the last one, which is pink, is represent, I put on the paper. I just put it on the paper, but another trait that I'm not sure of what it is just yet. But the reason that I did this is because today I'm going to talk about change. Today I'm going to talk about, like, at the beginning of the series, I talked about how, as society, Western culture, it is more acceptable. I don't know if it's acceptable. We are more likely to gain with an ease than we are to lose. And for some people, it's vice versa. But the way that we are made, the way that we are designed, is we are designed to both receive and to release. Our bodies are designed to receive and to release. And in doing this painting and doing this before I start the actual painting, it's helping me to receive the information that it has to give, which is that when I was navigating different changes in my life, the things that help me get out, which what I consider to be my strengths, are creativity, creativity, resilience, and laughter. And there's another component which you don't see as much of it in there, and the yellow represents creativity.
So clearly you see way more yellow than you see of any other color. So creativity is the thing that is the most. The blue is for laughter, and then this darker blue is for laughter, and this lighter blue is for resilience. So as I got ready to create this painting, that is what was coming to me. And I was like, let me write that down so I can go back and share. But this pink component, I'm really not sure what it is. I think it's something like positivity. But by the end of this recording, I may know what it is. But as I always say, I'll go to my stories and Instagram if it comes to me. But there was another component, but I was like, it's not as much as it is not as vibrant, if you will, or as much of it as it is the rest, but it is in there. And so I want to acknowledge that it is there. And so in my pursuit to tell you about how we are designed to both gain and to both lose, I wanted to draw you what that would look like. And everyone wouldn't draw this the same. Everyone doesn't feel what I feel when it comes to my gains and my losses. You may have drawn a straight line. You may have drawn something else. So I wanted to share my drawing with you so that you can think about this for yourself. What are three things that you consider that are your top strengths? And I want you to think about that. And as you think about that, if you were to do something like this, what would it look like? When times got hard, when adversity hit, when you wanted the job and you didn't get the job, when you wanted, the friendship and it fell through, or you gained the friendship and you thought it was going to be something that was going to add value and it took from you. What did that feel like for you? And those strengths are the things that got you to where you are today. And if you are currently in a state of, I just lost someone, I just lost something, then what does that feel like? What colors would you give it to your strengths? And it's not something that you have to think about. It's nothing you think about. I literally, and when I say this, don't think about it. Whatever colors come to mind right now, you might want to jot those colors down. Whatever the picture that you may see in your mind right now, that is what's true for you. This is what's true for me. I only share my drawing and depiction of this because as I continue to go to this next step, and I'm going to do one more of these, and then I'm going to go to the painting. I will go from, this is what it feels like for me to come out. So faced adversity, my top strengths were those three that I shared, and this is what it felt like. Sometimes it felt blue. Sometimes it felt yellow. Sometimes it felt pink. Sometimes it felt a lighter shade of blue. And this is what it felt like, all of the different changes. So now that it's a little bit dry, I can go back and show you the lines. One moment. They won't be the exact as they are on here. And if you notice, some of the colors mixed, and sometimes it was laughter and it was creativity. Sometimes it was resilience and creativity. And the unknown component, I think it is positivity because I keep going back to that word. So sometimes it was laughter and positivity. Sometimes it was resilience and positivity. So where the colors overlap and they mix together, that is where those things were to collide. And that's what helped me to navigate and to go through. This was actually really fun. And I'm really kind of also wowed because it's different when you have what you want to do in mind. And like for the painting, I kind of, go with what I see there. But for this, it was totally all like intuition, like what I felt. So now I'm going to show it. Okay, so there it is. And it looks a little bit, sticking. There it is. That's what that felt like for me. I think I made myself a little blurry. Okay. Am I blurry? I feel like I am. Okay, so that was painting number 1, and I'm gonna call this one adversity. Adversity. I'm gonna call that one adversity. All right. All right, here we go. One more time, and then we're gonna jump into the painting. Okay. So this one I am calling the process of grief. The process of grief. If you watched me closely, you were able to see me add layers and layers of colors. There was red, there was blue, there was white, there was black, and then I smeared them, and then I patted them, and then I dragged them, and then I went in very intentionally and just played splatters and splatters, and those will be our representation of footprints or the path that we walked. Um, and if you look here closer, over here on this side, the painting is faint, the whites, and that is where this is the process of either you are either walking away from something and while your footsteps are bigger, or you're walking, and this side can be that you're walking into something new. So you're like, I don't really know about this, or it could be the either way, whichever way that you interpret it. You could be walking, away from something, so you're like, take your time, and you could be walking into something. But it is about the process of grief and how it is very much a for me. And like I said, for the first thing that I did, the first painting that I did, I want you to think about what that process looks like for you. And when you face adversity, I want you to think about your strengths, but I also want you to think about those top three strengths, and like, I overcame this thing. And if you're currently in that situation, what are your strengths that you've seen from past seasons? Because you've been through some things before you've been through this thing. And for this one, the process of grief, I'm just reminding you that the process is going to cause you to grieve. Whether you're gaining or losing, you're going to have to grieve. And what does that look like for you? If you had to paint it, if you had to draw it, even if you just imagined it, because some people don't paint. Some people may not ever touch paint. If you had to draw it with color pencils, some of your office materials, what would it look like? What color would you give it? What are you seeing in your mind when you think about this? As I'm talking, you're like, oh my goodness, I am seeing this. Maybe take note, write it down, take a deep breath, and I want you to accept what it is that you are seeing. So I want to give you some steps for these two activities. That was a bonus. I literally didn't think I would walk you through it, but I want to give that to you in the sense of, you've been watching me for these 4 days and now 5, and I want to gift this as something like, hey, I know a little bit about this thing. And what I mean by that is about how art can heal us, and that in this process of life, we are all healing and on this journey to go through some things, to master some things, to process some things. And I would not be human, a kind human, if I didn't also share with you that, hey, this is what it looks like to go through it in one setting. This is what it looks like to go through it either way. And like I said, for everybody, that process is so much different. So here are your steps, and I wrote these down so that I can give these to you. As you are going through this journey, I want this journey of life, and I'm going to share my story. But I want to give this to you before I begin it, because it gets it's going to get very, very heavy at some points. And so I'm saying this now in case if it does get too heavy for you, that you may log off, or you may say, hey, I'll come back and I'll watch that later. It is a Friday night. However, I want to give this in case you don't stay to the end. So as you are navigating life, every single human being, rich, poor, middle class, upper class, drive a beat up car, drive a jalopy, drive the greatest, car that you can think of, living in a 2-bedroom, living outside, living on the streets, living in a mansion. Everybody goes through change. I was listening to an interview, and I want to say it was Elizabeth Gilbert, who wrote Big Magic, and she was being interviewed by someone, and she basically said that 85, I wrote the number down, 85%, here it is, 85% of humanity goes through massive change that has changed them. So whatever that change may be, having a baby, um, losing a limb, or being rich and then going to poor, being poor and then going to rich. Like we've all, 85% of us have went through something massive, and it has changed who we are today. It has changed who we are today. And I thought that was like, I'm like, I gotta go listen again, because 85 is a huge percent of population. So here are the steps. As you are thinking about the activities that I share with you, and this right here is something you can use for life, but I am talking about it in the sense of art. Before, as you go into change, as you think you're perceiving that something is about to change, or if you are in the middle of change, set your intention. Why? Like, why are you doing this? And when I say set an intention, why are you doing this? Why are you, and I say let's say you're moving jobs, and you're intentionally changing jobs because of something, or you're in the middle of a change and you're thinking about it. Why do you want to change jobs? Why do you want to go to this new home? Why do you want to, have this boyfriend, have this girlfriend? Why? Like, what are your intentions? Set your intention first. As you are navigating change, as you are intentionally navigating change, as you are coming to adversity, as you are in the situation right now, you can still ask yourself why. You can still ask yourself, like, what is it that I want to gather from this? And then set an intention from there. The second thing I want to advise, and even if you're doing this in an activity, is to relax. Relax. And nowadays, in the hustle and bustle of culture, that is not something that's very common. Relax. Relax. And when I say relax, I'm saying act as if it's like a rehearsal. You're practicing. You're just practicing. You set your intention, and now you can relax and say, okay, if no one was watching me, what would I be doing? How would I do this? If I'm just practicing, what would this look like? What would this feel like? I'm just practicing, meaning that you can get it, like, completely, quote unquote, and very lightly said wrong. The third thing I want to say, and I say that because I want you to understand, like, when we're practicing in rehearsals, you get take 2, take 3, take 4. And then when we realize, and when we have this understanding that it's rehearsal, you relax. You're like, oh, I can go over that line again. Oh, I can do dress rehearsal tomorrow. Oh, I can, take 2. Ooh. And I say take 2, but if you've ever did theater, it's not takes, it's live. But in rehearsals, you are doing it over and over and over. If you are in movies, if you produce, content, if you are a photographer, if you are a videographer, you can do it as many times as you need to get the thing that you want. So that causes us to relax. So I want you to take that mindset in, that, hey, this is just a rehearsal. I can actually relax. The third thing is to take the dive in. Allow things to unfold. Okay, you set your intention. You know why you're doing this thing. I told y'all why I was doing this. I am doing this because I want to encourage at the least one person to do the thing that they love. Just do it. That is why I'm doing this. I relaxed. After the first day was very clunky and I was all over the place, I was like, whoa, like this, like, I've never used a camera. I never used a, I guess, professional type camera to do this type of stuff. I don't really know how this equipment works. What am I doing? But once I realized, like, this is rehearsal. At this point, there's very little people, quote unquote, checking for me. I can relax. I can change my outfit. I can fix my lighting. I can slide my camera back and forth. I can fix my focus on my camera. I can relax. This is a rehearsal. And so in that taking the dive in is just to take some action, allow things to unfold. The next part is I want you to start creating. And when you're taking the dive in, the way that these two are different. So I said, take the dive in is to take action. You're allowing things to unfold. The next part is to start creating. Just do it. Just do it. If I go back to the example about you are, pursuing a new job, you set your intention on why you want to be at this new job, what you want to feel, how you want to feel, how you want it to feel when you get to this place. You relax into that feeling. Say you want to get this new job because you want more ease in your life. You relax into that feeling of ease. You allow, by taking a dive in, more ease into your life by saying, okay, I'm going to create more space in these things. I'm going to actually take my break when I have to take a break. I'm actually going to I think of like I'm actually going to take a walk on my break because that's what I prefer to do because I am setting an intention to leave this job because I want more ease. Now you start creating. Creating in the job sense may be making moves, putting in applications, start creating. If you are creative, start, creating the content, start creating by creating the new thoughts, the new mindset, the new, like all of this is going to cause your mindset to change as you do it, but start to create the new mindset. Start moving. Start moving. I'm going to take a water break and then I'm going to give you some rules about this whole, I guess, art creating. And I say rules, but if you're creative and you're watching this, that is, we as creatives, we break the rules. People give us rules and we decide, hey, I'm not doing it that way. So I'm going to give you the rules so that you can break the rules. So the thing about me giving you rules is like, I just consider what I'm saying, give it some thought, just hear me out. And then we're going to get to the painting of the day. I'm going to share some of my story and share my paintings. So this is just before we get into the mushy stuff. All right. So if you go into this, how your artwork looks doesn't matter. As you start creating, it doesn't matter how it looks. You are doing something new, or you're going back and you're starting again, beginning again. How it looks doesn't matter. Like, don't focus on, oh my goodness, like, if you go back, in this series, you'll see, like, from the first day, one of the days I did not know how to set up the camera. And so because I didn't know how to set up the camera, I used my camera on my laptop. You will see a difference in it. It doesn't matter. I have done exactly what I'm sharing with you here. I know what my intention is. I was able to relax. I took a dive in and then I started creating, and here we are. So how it looked, it doesn't matter. Your inner critic is going to start talking to you as you start your process. As you start your process, your inner critic is, and I want you to think about this before I tell you my story, this all will make sense to you. Your inner critic will start to tell you shoulds. Everybody's inner critic has a different thing that they say, or thing that it says, he says. People give it names. My inner critic is Larry. Why? Larry can be a girl, Larry can be a man, Larry can be a girl, Larry can be a man, Larry can be a child, Larry can be sometimes my own voice. But it doesn't matter what it looks like. Release your inner critic, meaning like, yes, identify and release your inner critic. Because if you don't know what your inner critic is saying, then you won't know that it's not actually you. The next thing is give yourself what you need and what you want. And what I need, as like I told y'all, in one of these days I was dehydrated. I need water. I need to rest. I need to create as well. And in all of that, while I'm doing this, as much as I'm pouring out, I am pouring into myself as well. Had to sit down and think about some things, had to sit down and come up with some value to add as I am doing. I didn't have to. I chose to add some value on this day, although I'm going to share my story as well, because I looked at my own story and realized there's so much value in it. But if I can give you some tangible things to take home that are not just based on my story, you'll be able to see yourself in it as well. So replenish and nourish, give yourself what you need and what you want. And also, again, intention. We're back to that part again. Just want to emphasize that. And then Like I said again, allow yourself to play. I'm saying the same things I said at the beginning. I'm just re-emphasized. Allow yourself to play. Allow yourself to play. This is a rehearsal. There's no consequences. You are practicing. Allow yourself to play. Intention. Out of all of us, all of us, out of all of the things that I have said, intention, intention, intention. And remember, this is a rehearsal. Play. There's no consequences. And you are practicing. If you think about this, and then I'm going to go take a small little break, and then we'll be back to share my paintings. And I say small little break. I'm just going to literally walk to the back and then come back up here. But I just want to give a pause in the video. What I'm going to say here is if you think about when you go to the doctor, they call them nurses in practice, nurse practitioners. If you look on their badge, they're practicing. But, well, I say they're practicing and they know how to fix your brain if your brain is not functioning well. They know how to fix your body if something in your body isn't functioning well. But they are practicing. And if some of the people that we really look up to and some of the people that we as Western culture have the privilege of having access to, some of us, then we as people who are creatives, as people who are moving and navigating life, we too get to practice. They have the accolades to match their practice, and we are out here. We have the accolades to match our practice. So I just want to remind you, practice, practice, practice. This is a rehearsal, and you do not have to get it right, especially in terms of creativity and this life that you are living. We're practicing, you're practicing. So those are my sentiments on what I just showed you here, and letting you know, like, as you navigate change, as you navigate adversity, as you navigate in your own personal life in some way, if creativity doesn't fit there, or you're not going through any changes right now, or if you are in the middle of change, it relates to all of those. I'm going to walk to the back, do some lighting adjustment, and then I will be right back. Okay, here we are. So let me put my so that I don't drink the wrong water, y'all. Because so here we are. So before I share these, I want to remind you that we all go through change. We all go through change. And for me, I chose to go through change using the three things I shared with you earlier: creativity, being resilient. These are things hindsight that I realized, and laughter. And one of the things, like I showed you on the painting that I did earlier, that really was the highlight of it all was creativity. And this was after years and years of using journals. And maybe I will share. I eventually, I'm going to share with y'all my journals. Excuse me. Journals. I consider myself a serial journaler. Right now, my camera is actually sitting on a stack of journals that I have written in over the years. I have several more in my closet, and I just really, really believe in the power of writing and journaling. And so that is where I first began my creative journey. And you may ask, like, okay, Sierra, you're telling us you journal, you're a serial journaler, and you're smiling. And we see you today, and you're painting this painting around, surrounded by love. But you also, like talked about grief, you talked about change. So something that I want to share today, and I am rambling a bit because it's like, whoa, here we go. Switching gears. So as a child, I went through some very, very troubling things. And I talk about this a lot, and I'm probably not going to stop talking about it, because what I realized is that out of all the people in our society who have rights, it is very not talked about, if that makes sense. We don't talk about how children, if right now if I was to hit my child, which is not happening, if I was to hit my child in a very abusive manner, or hit either of them, period, that is abuse. And we are taught in our household what stays in our, some of us, what happens in your household stays in your household. So getting to this place to say what I'm about to say is that abuse is never okay, ever. And I grew up, and during my adolescent years, I was sexually assaulted. And it led me into a very, very, very dark place. And I'm so grateful. A very dark place. I don't want to get off of that very quickly, but I will say it this way. I was not this bubbly child that I was before it happened. I questioned my life. I didn't want to live it sometimes. I covered my body. The things that you can think of that people tell you about. The thing that I think that's so gracious is that once I shut down talking to people, I started to talk to my journal. And that is where I first got to my first introduction to my creativity, and that I can now create my world for myself. I can now have hope. I can now make up stories about what I want my life to be. I can now process these emotions inside of this journal. I can now look at these things and see, like, this is what happened. This is how I'm feeling. I can now trust, because I was not trusting even of the adults that were around me. It was like I was viewing life through this broken lens. Like, think about it. If you were watching me right now and I was to, let me get this, I have some cheesecloth, and this is what my life felt like. And now I got paint all over my hands, which is totally okay. This is what my life felt like. Let's see if this is gonna show up in there. This is how I was looking through life. You can see me, but you can't really see me. That is what my life felt like for years. And as I continue to process, as I continue to write in these journals, I then went into like doodling. And that was something that was very therapeutic for me. And this is all I was about 8 or 9 years old when it happened. And I remember writing in my first journal at the age of 9. And I don't remember the first time I started journaling, but I was very young. This is without counseling. This is without a therapist. This is without much spiritual guidance. I knew of God, but I had thought of God as this like Santa Claus type figure. I go to this man and I talk to him about what I need and what I these things that you're gonna bring me. But things I didn't know, I like tangible things, not things like joy, not things like peace, not things like hope. I didn't know I could go to this deity or this God to ask for these things during this time. But here I am with journals after journal after journal and writing and writing. And then I began doodling and then I began drawing and then I began doing scrapbooking. And all of this is why I talk about creativity in the way that I do. All of this is why I'm sharing my paintings. All of this, yes, I want to help somebody to do what they love. But the reason that I have a love for creativity, that I have a love for art, however you would like to put it, is because it helped me when I was in the darkest place. It helped me when I showed you just now how the lens looks blurry. I for years I did not see a therapist until I was about years old, and I am 30 something now, something years old, and it didn't work out. But you today is that creativity, your God given, I believe God given, whoever you believe in, you don't have to believe the same thing to grasp this, but these talents that you did not give yourself, they are there to not only help heal you but to help to heal our world. So I love to share this way, and I want this to be a wide, and I believe it will be a wide and global message, because what I don't think people understand is that the artists that they know, the creatives that they know, the people who create, what do you call them, producers, directors, all of those people, they are giving us vision. They are giving us vision. And some of us, our lives are a little bit out of focus. And it's not until you get that thing in focus, which you can use your creativity to pull you there, to pull you there, to pull you there. Oh my goodness, to pull you there and to pull you out to where you can see again. And the picture is no longer blurry. But it's when we use those things that are given to us, we will overcome, like I drew in the first picture, that adversity, and we will be able to navigate it. And then you will get to a place that you can do what I'm doing. And not that your goal is to do what I'm doing, but you'll tell your story, and you will look back and say, no person has got me through this, in the sense of like, and not to, let me go back and say this again, like my creativity, my artistry, my writing, my painting, my music, my singing, my writing, my dancing, all of the things that you can think of when you think of art. In any medium that you use, any type of media that you use, you can look back and say, man, I remember that is the thing that the thing that people, and I think most of us are misunderstood. Like when we want to go into this creative place, most of us creatives, most of us with these gifts, we use those things. And some of us are not, we're unaware that this thing can help me and to heal me and to get me to a place of awareness. I don't necessarily think it always just heals the things. I believe it's healing, ing, but we get to a place where we're using this tool to pull ourselves out of a hole. Then you can turn around and you can say, hey friend, I just want you to know that I don't know what you've been through in your life, but what creative gifts do you have? And they may tell you they don't have any. I don't do anything, but I promise you, I can introduce you to my form of artistry, and you may take it and break the rules. I may say, draw it like this, and you may draw it another way. But it's a way that we can heal. And I think that it can heal. I truly believe it can heal us from so many things and get us in the process of awareness. And our nation would be better and better and better every time somebody make it. Think of how many songs you can think of right now when you were down and out, right now when you were celebrating. You can think of that song, celebrate good times, come on. That's one song. There's another song you can think of. Let's see, right now, Beyonce's song, You Won't Break My Soul. Like, she is helping people to remember, like, you can touch me, physically, you can do all of these other things. You may break up with me. You may, the house may go into foreclosure, but you can put that song on and your mood will change. Is it permanent change? Absolutely not. However, it will get you in a mode to go back to what I was saying earlier. Why am I listening to this song? Allow yourself to practice, to release the inner critic, to replenish, give yourself what you need. And sometimes you may look at a work of art and that will change the way that you see other things in your life. Sometimes you may look at a movie. I know one of my friends, she loves movies that are about dolls. If she wants to cry, she will watch some movies about, I think I got this right, she will correct me later, but she will watch movies about dolls. And if she wants to like get into certain feelings, there's certain movies like 7 Pounds, that movie, like giving away a body, like gifting body parts for people to save their lives. All of these things that come to the under the umbrella of art, they're helping us to see life in its full essence. Books. Don't even let me begin to talk about books. Books, a beautiful form of art that introduces us to new ways of thinking. And sometimes some of the answers that we need and some of the answers that we're looking for, they are in books, but we don't read. And I say we because sometimes we don't read. And so as you're listening to this, if you're not reading a book right now, go pick you up a book. Even if it's a children's book, pick you up a book. I just finished a book today that I loved. I loved it. And now I'm reading another book about love because I love love. But it's introducing me and it's also going to clarify some of those things that I am thinking about. I'm trying to think of other forms of art. There's writing. Oh my God. Writing. The movies that you watch, there's a writer that is feeling. The actors that you watch, they're getting into art. They're getting that they're in touch with their humanity so much so that they can cry and think about something and go through this grief and go through these adversity and the changes in their lives. And then you get an amazing movie. Thinking of a movie, one of my favorite movies, the latest movie that it has become a movie that I love is The Photograph. My friend told me to watch it one time. I watched it, kept falling asleep on it. Somebody else suggested it to me. And I was like, okay, friend said to watch this movie. Someone else says to watch this movie. And me and my husband got together and we watched it. Beautiful cinematography. Beautiful. I didn't even know that word before that day, but the cinematography was beautiful. The colors were beautiful. The way that their love was beautiful. Like if you go back and I say colors because I'm an artist, the way that there was like this burnt orange or like deep orange, if you will, turquoise or blue and like shade of brown that they had in lots of the scenes. And then the lighting was like dim, just enough for you to have to look in a little bit more to pay attention. Listen, I said all of that to say, our stories matter. Our stories matter. Our creativity, it matters. And it's not, you didn't just, I would like to say this. I will not give you the cliche phrase, but I will say this, that in the pain that you have endured, in the changes that you may be in, the adversity that you may be feeling, the grief that you may be feeling, it all will help you first, and then it will help other people. And once you can get the nutrients out of it, you can go and water someone else. You can go and plant a seed somewhere else. You can go and nurture someone else's seed that's already been planted. But you have to first become aware of how this part of your life has changed you and how it has helped you. And then you will be able to share that with someone else. I did not go as deep into my story as I would have liked. And I think I gave just enough. So here we are. I'm going to share with you some of my artwork. I'm going to take some water and I'm going to share with you some of my artwork. So here we are. All right. This is a part that I often, and I'm hoping that it's going to, with the camera, I'm hoping that you see it the way that it is. But I would tell y'all this is from 2017, I think. I'm trying to see which one is the oldest. One. I'm not gonna try to see them yet. Well, this 2013. This is the oldest one. So, woo! Here we go. So clearly, I've always been an outside girl. Clearly, I've always been a sunset girl. And this is this. I painted this in 2013. And yeah, you see the browns. And if you look closely, you can see the paint breaking. But yeah, something I painted in 2013. I wish I could tell you what I was processing. I do not know. But this is before I became aware of this whole process of creativity. But I want to share these with you just to show you, like, it's something in your life that you do. And like I said, I'm especially speaking to creators. It's something in your life that you do and you always go back to it. And this thing is being used to heal you. This thing is being used to bring awareness to you. Think of that as I keep going through my pictures. I want you to think of that. You always go back to this thing, whether you're like writing some lyrics that you never share with anybody, whether you have 15 journals full of ideas that you've never executed, whether you have books that you read about, maybe comics, or you're into fantasy, or you're into drama and you do these dances and that you never showed to anyone, or that, and I say never, but that you're shy about, I should say, or you paint and you're like, or you draw, whatever it is, there's a part of your creative nature that you use for you. But like I said, that was from 2013. You've been doing it for years. And it's time to get back to that. Here is another painting. Like I said, I've always been an outside girl. Clearly, because these are very old. And this is another painting that I've painted. And this is a night sky. I love trees. I love nature. And I am obsessed now, more than I have been, with the moon and that. With the moon and the moon and the sun. This is one of my favorite parks that I visit. And so this is a two one. But this is the bridge at the park, the trees, and yeah, there is that. And I still go to this park till this day. And I think this says 20. I don't know what it says, but I know it says 20 something something. So I did this in 20 something, 20, let's say 2017. And the very last one is of the pond at this same park that I still visit to this day. This was actually at the Japanese Garden here in Mobile. And I am drawing like the lilies, you'll see. And that is this painting. So clearly, I've always been an outside girl. I didn't leave that one up as long, but there you go. There's this painting. Clearly, I've always been an outside girl, adore nature, and it's been my thing in my gym for several years. I don't know, got away from it, if you will, and I haven't gotten away from it. That's not what I was about to say. But I haven't gotten away from it. And I still, like, to this day, like, I still enjoy nature like so much, so much. So much so that tomorrow we are going to watch the sunset again. I already have plans to watch the sunset tomorrow. And this month, not this month, this season of autumn is one of my favorites. And so the plan is to go to some scenic routes. If you've never looked it up, look up your state and find out the scenic routes. You look up, let's say you stay in Texas scenic routes. You can find some scenic routes if this is one of your favorite seasons, and it will show you like where to go to see like the most beautiful atmospheric, like, oh, like, I don't even know if I got the right words for it, but yeah. So that is that. I hope you enjoyed this. This is a little bit different than I've done. I don't know how long I've been on there because I took off my thing that allows me to see how many of you are on here. But I am going to paint now. And so I'm going to hit the music again. And I just share with you my story in a very contained manner. And now I'm going to finish this painting. And just stay tuned. Just stay tuned. I'm going to finish this painting off very, very quickly. And then I'm going to do something that is going to that is going to switch us into change and adversity and when things happen in our life. I know I've shared that I have, like right now, I know and I believe that I am surrounded by love, and that is lovely. However, I didn't always believe that. And I guess this is where I'll share a little bit more of my story. It's like, didn't always believe I was surrounded by love. I did not always believe I was surrounded by love. And so as I navigated, these thoughts from being tampered with earlier than without my consent, I should say, that really messed with my mind. That really messed with the way that I thought about people and trusted people and wanted to be in certain environments. Even my family, it was just a really big, we'll call it a monster of a thought process to navigate. Even growing up and going into like middle school, it was different. Like, and I say different because I talked to my peers and they weren't having the same experiences that I was having. And it was like a very, very, if you think about a task that is mundane, my life felt very mundane. Like, some people really enjoy washing dishes. I do not enjoy washing dishes. So that task is mundane for me. It's like bland. Or if you've ever been, listening to someone and their voice is not, they don't elevate their voice, or they don't turn their voice down, and they're just monotone and they just talk this way the entire time, and they don't inflect their voice, they don't let it go down, they don't do anything. They just talk like this the entire time. And it gets boring. It gets boring. And I wouldn't say my life was boring, but it felt very monotone. It felt like black and white. It didn't have color for some time. And it was rough. And mind you, as I'm talking about this, and think of this, I have my creativity. My creativity is locked and loaded. Okay. So I am and at this stage in my life, I'm a very in touch with all of my senses. So I'm walking into a room and I'm smelling things that people may not smell because I'm so alert and aware. So even when people compliment and they're like, oh, your awareness, listen, I did not, there was no, at this age, no awareness of self-development, personal growth, and all of this. No, I have scars to show you that my awareness came from a place. I am so grateful today that I understand and can put these things in their place with first the help of God, and second the help of a therapist, and third the help of amazing friends and family who loved on me, and people who have mothered me through different things. Like, every place I've been, I always had this mother figure. Every place I've been, every place I've stayed, there's always this woman who draws herself to me, or I draw myself to her, and takes me under her wing and mothered me. And so I was never without. And even when I felt forsaken by parents and by friends and by family and by others, I wasn't ever alone. And this is me looking back on things. But in the midst of it, I definitely felt alone, because I was like, nobody else understands this. Nobody else has, been sexually assaulted. Nobody else doesn't get it. Like, do you smell that? Do you feel that? Can you feel that this person in this room is angry? So I would like feel the temperature in the room, not metaphorically feel the temperature. If somebody was mad, somebody was angry, if somebody was very, very happy, if somebody was joyful, it was like I could feel all of that. And if I was having a sad day and you were joyful, I was getting out the room. And vice versa. If I was having a great day and you were having a bad day, I gotta go because I can feel it. And so it was a very, very sensual, if you look up that word, very, very sensual experience. Sensual, is that the right word? It was a very, very, yes, sensual at times, because I could feel pleasure in the sense of like from things things I smelled, things I could hear, things I would taste. But then it was also very, very like, and I think I may say in the same thing, into all of the senses. Like, I could feel, and I also had a sixth sense, like five, sixth sense as well. That's a tongue twister. So I had this knowing of things, like I would know things, and other people, I was like, wait, do you know this? And back now at this place, I know that some of that was perverted. Like, some of my knowing and stuff was perverted. However, as I grow and as I continue to, understand more, and as I've been in therapy on and off for years, and I had a consistent time period for what, 2 or 3 years, and then on and off, I was always told you have great coping skills, Sierra. And I say always, I was told one time by a therapist that I had great coping skills. And from there, I just continued to stay in tune with my creativity and stay in tap with my like writing, with painting, with drawing, with doodling. I One thing I will tell you I've always consistently done is create. And either that's creating a story, imagining a new story, or writing a story. I've written a couple of stories that I have probably won't ever publish. Written a couple of stories in like short stories in books and like journals, if you will, that are quote unquote books, and that's just very lightly said. Um, and I have drawn a lot. I painted a lot. If I was to turn this camera around right now and let y'all see, like I painted a lot. And like I just showed you, like this isn't something I just woke up and started doing. Like, no. I've been expressing myself and expressing my creativity through artistic things for most of my life. At least by the age of 9, I know for sure. So yeah, so we're going to do this. I'm going to turn on some music and we're going to get to it. Thank you so much for listening up until this point. This one is a little bit different. I told y'all this was going to be a little different than the other 4 days. Tomorrow I will not be here, just in case, like I said, I know some people don't watch all the way to the end. I will not be here Saturday and Sunday. I'm only doing weekdays. I'm taking 2 days of rest, and then we will be back next week for the next 5 days. So for the last 5 days. So here we go. I have to change that water out, guys, because it was totally about to be. All right, here we go. Let me plug up my phone right here. We will be using the blow dryer today, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Yeah, I got it. Here we go. And I want to capture some of this. The music will come back in just a moment. Okay, y'all. So we're gonna do no music because it's really getting real over here for me. Okay, so just trust me on this. Let's do no music for a little bit. It's getting real. Let's see. Maybe I can keep y'all in the loop. All right, we're gonna try this. If it gets to be too much again, then I'll turn it off. So I guess I could talk to y'all through this. All right. So what is happening here is I am I am drawing. Remember those pictures I showed y'all earlier? They will come into play. Those pictures I drew earlier will come into play. And so I'm just gonna finish this picture off. We're gonna finish this picture off together. And then I will go into the rest. So I promise y'all, I am okay. If you see me, if I turn around and there's tears in my eyes, I am okay. These are not tears of sadness. These are tears of joy. So I'm gonna let myself feel all of them. And some of them, a little bit of, just remembrance of my process, but I promise y'all, I am fine. All right. So there's an airplane going over. So here's the intricate part. All right, so I'm gonna add her some gold, and we are going to be on our way. I'm gonna add her some gold and bronze to her body, and then she may look a little like, well, Sierra, what's happening here? It's all intentional. All right. This is where it gets real. Okay. So I'm putting, it gets real from here, y'all. So, all right. Although she's surrounded by love, she's holding on to her broken heart. Although she's surrounded by love, she is holding on to her broken heart, her brokenness. This won't even matter when I'm going to do it. Let's see. Switch my water up here. All right. Yeah. Yes. I'm still on my iPad. That was James, my husband, checking to see was I okay. Okay, so it's getting intense. I'm gonna get off of here and I'm gonna finish the rest of this off of camera. Oh, I could have told y'all. I'm gonna get off of here. I'm gonna finish the rest off of camera. Whew. I'm gonna finish the rest of this off of camera. Um, I can already tell you like some things that are gonna happen in her mind. I'm about to draw those things out, and then I'm going to because I'm gonna change the music, and I don't have the rights to use the music that I'm gonna be listening to, and so I'm gonna just cut it here. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. I hope that you gained something today that you didn't come with, and I will see you again on Monday. I will see you again on Monday. I'm taking a break for these 2 days, and then I will be back on Monday. Full swing, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on the same channel. Thank you so much.